And Chris, just tell us a bit about the race you're doing first of all, because it's a 100-mile in France.
Yeah, that's right. 100-mile race starts in Chamonix and basically goes all the way around Mont Blanc, passing through Italy and Switzerland. And probably the hard part about it is it's got a lot of climbing in there, so about 10,000 metres in total. Is more than Everest in one hit.
So why? Is the inevitable question for that one?
It's just a challenge, really. It's like a lot further than I've run before, another 40 odd miles. And it's, I just want to get it ticked off. It's quite a prestigious race. I was lucky to get into it, so yeah, I feel like give it a good go.
So you said you qualified for this through a race in Wales?
Yeah, that's right. It's a bit of a pyramid scheme of races, and this is the one that it builds up to. So I did one of the races in Wales. It's 100 kilometres. Gave me the bare minimum qualifications to enter this one. And I entered a ballot and got a place, and I'm not sure if that's lucky or unlucky. I'll have to let you know.
So is there a time limit on this, or is it
Yeah, so it starts on Friday evening, and you've got 46 hours, which takes you through to the midway through the Sunday, the following day, to get it done.
And you're doing it for Arlo's Adventure. So we've got Sarah. So why the charity?
I think there's a real need for it on the island. There's obviously always going to be, unfortunately, families that have ill children, and I think anything that can be done to support them is a really worthwhile cause. Arlo's Adventure is a relatively new charity, and it's been successful, but it needs funding to keep going and keep providing support.
So just tell us about Arlo's, really.
I set up Arlo's Adventure 3 years ago now, in memory of my son. I'd spent quite a long time away in Liverpool Women's, and Arlo lived for 6 weeks before he passed away. So obviously in that time I was away from all my family and things like that, and luckily enough they could come over and visit because it's quite a lonely time. And also the family got to meet Arlo because they could come over and visit, whereas we were lucky that they could afford to. And unfortunately, in the times that we're in now, that's becoming a luxury, really. Patient transfers will fund for a member of the family to go over with that child, but the wider family don't get to go, and sometimes that can be a time critical thing, really. We recently funded for a family to go over for someone that was really ill, and that was precious time that they got to be away with them. That's part of what we do. We also support bereaved families on the Isle of Man. We focuses on miscarriage and stillbirth and neonatal death for those families over here. We do things like a petal release and baby loss awareness week to remember those babies, because sometimes when I ask people what do you want, they just say for someone to remember, and so for their names to be spoken is really, really important. It means a lot to the families over here, and for people like Chris doing these events for us means that we can keep going and that we can support as many families as we possibly can. The way we support them when they're in the UK is we can do things like food vouchers for them, because if you've got a house to run over here and children over here as well, you've still got to fund your own food and things in the UK. So that's something that we do. We can give food vouchers as well as bringing the family over to them.
You obviously turned what must have been a horrendous experience in your own life into something to help others. Is being an island that we are, this is the sort of thing that almost sadly inevitably is necessity. Do you think it's something you're seeing that more people are leaning on charities like yourself for that support?
We've certainly found ourselves quite busy recently, unfortunately. But fortunately and unfortunately, really, because we're glad that we can be there. But whether that's the cost of living and people not being able to afford to go for themselves, and whether it's the awareness of our charity, because as Chris said, we are a fairly new charity, so I think it could be a little bit of both, really, but we're just glad that we are here and we do have the funds to be able to help people that are going through that tough time.
Chris, just what sort of target have you given yourself, both in terms of time for this race, but also in terms of fundraising? What's your...
My target really is just to finish it. Obviously the sooner the better, then I can get my feet up. And in terms of fundraising, I've put on the Just Giving page 2,500, and yeah, anything over that I'd be delighted with.
Well, obviously there'll be a link across the bottom of this now for people who want to donate, but is there somewhere they can find this? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's on Facebook on the Arlo's Adventure page, so if you search for that you'll be able to find it, and then yeah, we'll have a Just Giving link as well.
And just finally, what week are you away racing, and can people keep up with that while you're there?
Yeah, they can. Again, we can share the link on the Arlo's Adventure Facebook site, and it's in 3 weeks. The 1st of September is when it starts.
Got that. Chris, good luck, and Sarah, thanks for coming in and telling us about Arlo's Adventure.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.